start again, please, Max?
Yes.
So anyway, when buying
beans,
yeah,
and you're starting up, it's your first time, you have a first coffee machine, you're starting to get beans and all that jazz. And a lot of other fun stuff we said, but we haven't recorded, so it's all gone. You've lost it. I'm sorry. It's all Nick's fault anyway.
Well, it'll be on the live stream. The live stream gets stuck on the YouTube as well.
So you go back to the live stream, so you know what Nick has done to you in particular. And so I wouldn't want to spend a lot of money to start with, because if you're starting out, you want to learn the basics and you don't want it to be expensive. Why do you want to get a bag of beans that costs you 15 pounds or whatever dollars? Every time that you make a mistake, it's going to be an expensive mistake. You're probably going to have to work out your basics and your flow, your workflow and everything. Why do you want to waste money? So I personally would get I would like to get through a few tins of good supermarket brand coffee. Me, I would go for the Illy, just because I'm Italian. I like it. It's actually a very good coffee when you get it, because it's packed under vacuum, or I'm not sure it's vacuum. Actually, it's not vacuum. It's
probably use nitrogen.
Under nitrogen. Yes, it's under protective atmosphere. So it's under nitrogen, which means that it's going to keep better than it would if it was in a bag with a vent for months and months. So I would get something like that until you start getting good coffee consistently. Then you can start exploring different coffee beans and different beans and different roasters and all the specialty coffee you want after you have your basics down.
Great advice, Max. I completely disagree. And so I don't completely disagree. I come at it from a different point of view. But it's interesting that we both got the same ideas, but I'm going to come at it differently. I'm sure Massimiliano Pogliano will be very happy to hear you to say that recommends Illy beans. If you haven't seen our interview with the CEO of Illy, then go check out somewhere else on our channel. Look it up there.
It's all right. I mean, you can, Max, you can send me the check anywhere.
But that in that conversation, we talk more about the ESG and sustainability behind Illy coffee. But my approach is actually kind of different. Like your approach makes total sense.
Yes, it does.
But like most things in the way I followed my life, I don't take the sensible route. I'm excited. I spent a lot of money on some equipment, and I'm not going to be worried necessarily about now, having spent all this money, about doing the sensible thing and going to buy, supermarket beans. But let's be very clear for a second. When we say supermarket beans, it's not a derogatory term. There's actually two separations of, well, at least for what you'll be drinking, hopefully, there's going to be only two different kinds of grades, as it were, of beans. Those which are termed speciality or specialty for our American friends, and those which are called commercial. So commercial grade, and when you talk about grades, it varies depending upon what part of the world you're in, but certainly in the West, we have, I think, a pretty much agreed standard for how beans are graded, and it's graded on size and quality, number of defects, and then eventually they get tasted through a process called cupping and attributed a score. So when you go for anything that's specialty or speciality coffee, what it's really saying is it's really saying that these are at a certain standard of quality, certain standard of flavor, certain standard of quality. Commercial grade beans can have more defects, maybe don't have as much flavor, or maybe won't have the same flavor consistency as a specialty coffee, and so they can be sold a lot cheaper. And that's why you go into supermarket and you'll see such huge price variances between these two. You go and get, a pack of your local supermarket coffee, and you're like, wow, that's so much cheaper. Why would I pay, 5 times the price for those beans over there? And the answer comes down to, and this is where Max was going really with it, it comes down to, yeah, but those are a much better class of quality of coffee, But if you don't know how to extract that flavor, then kind of what's the point? But I would say there's a kind of a but to that, and that is that I certainly found that part of my learning experience was trying to tackle the slightly more difficult coffees. Now, if it's literally your first week of trying to use a machine, then okay, sure, go down, get yourself a nice bag or can of illy coffee, and work your way through that. But once I mean, Ben's had his machine for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to presume that he knows how to use that machine, that he's getting some kind of consistent results, or he's getting some kind of results out right now. And he's ready to move on maybe to the next stage of his journey where he's like, you know what, I'd really like to see what this machine can do, what I can get out of it. So there'd probably be on a separate video, maybe Ben we'll do another thing about how you'd set up your machine and kind of things to do, and making sure that you've got that consistency. With the Gagio, it would be probably swapping out the OPV to a 9-bar a system, but also just doing basic things like cleaning and looking at your grinder that you've got, those sorts of things. But when it comes down to beans, what I would say is a couple of things. First of all, if you spent all that money, be prepared to spend more money. You have to. I don't think you can learn how to make specialty coffee cheap. I think there is a cost attached. There's a price tag for that. So the first thing I'd do is say, understand the difference between specialty coffee and commercial grade coffee. You can always, if you do nothing else, you can always get better results by going to an independent roaster. So, if the one thing that you do is, instead of getting your coffee at the supermarket, go to an independent roaster and buy your beans there, you're kind of almost guaranteed to get better results. So the first thing I would do is just go online and look up, in your area, if you're in Denver, Colorado, look up Denver, Colorado, coffee roaster, and you will find that you will have a lot. And
there's a bazillion everywhere in the US. I mean, in the US, I think there's more roasters than coffee shops.
Yeah, probably. There's a lot. There's a huge ecosystem of roasters, and frankly, the same is true here, Max.
I don't know. I haven't seen as many, but
okay, we're a smaller country, but I'm saying, if you take a look per capita, I bet you we've got something not a million miles away.
Okay,
we've got a lot, mate. Yeah, we'll never run out. So that's my second thing I would say, or my first thing I would say, understand that it has to be commercial and specialty coffee. Buy from an independent roaster.
Try the beans. If you can, buy locally, go to the roaster and have a coffee. Try.
Yeah, the roasters will let you in. Unless they don't like you.
So you know what it's gonna taste like, because one of the things we do, which is sometimes a little frustrating, because you always end up wondering, did I get it right? Can I do it differently? Should it taste differently? I don't know the benchmark. I don't have the benchmark because I'm doing it on my own here. The roaster is doing it on his own somewhere else, and we haven't compared data. So I don't know how it should taste. So
it's a great idea. So go down to your local roaster, pop in, and then see. And also, they'll give you all sorts of tips as well.
Or if you go to if you have coffee at a coffee shop, you can either buy the beans from them, which is an option, or ask them where do you get your beans.
A lot of them will get them from a local roaster.
Yeah, and most likely they're gonna tell you that it's not like they're gonna lose business anyway.
No, they'll tell you. I was down visiting my son for lunch a couple of weeks ago, and we walked around different coffee shops. I'm like, hey, where do you get your beans from? And they were all roasters that I knew in the area. Yeah, that's a really good tip. But one thing I would say is, don't expect to get the same results.
No, that's
I mean, it'll give you a guideline, but you won't get the same result. Don't get frustrated because you're not going to get that same result as he's getting on his 10,000 pound machine with a specialty water filter system attached, and 2,000 pound grinders, pounds being money pounds, not weight. So
Also weight in some
also
case.
possibly weight. So you're not going to get the same results, but it'll give you an idea of what you like, which kind of brings me on to my next thing, which is that understand that geographic region makes a difference. And I think one of the first things that, and kind of this starts to get for me exciting, is to understand where the coffee has come from, where it's originated from, because generally, because we're looking down by the equator, and you've got quite a long belt of South American coffee, Central American coffee. So you could start there. You could start with, I mean, Brazil's the biggest coffee producer in the world. I'm not sure if they still are. Maybe Colombia is, but Brazil and Colombia both. They taste different, those regions. Then you've got Guatemala, Costa Rica. You've got all down there. You've got tons of
Dominican
places.
Republic, if you can get a hold of it.
Dominican Republic, yeah. And then you go out to...
It's more rare than a unicorn tier, but...
Yeah, well, it's like getting coffee beans from Myanmar or Burma at the moment, which I'm trying to do. Africa, that could be a place you might want to start there. I mean, obviously Ethiopia is the commonly understood as the birthplace of coffee. You've got Ethiopia, you've got Kenya, Guatemala, Tanzania, Uganda. All of those produce coffees. And when you talk about, I would just say it could almost just start with the country and just say, get me an Ethiopian, because I won't say all Ethiopians taste the same. That's not true, but there's a kind of a
sort of
trademark.
tell.
You can kind of tell an Ethiopian, right? And
Yeah,
you can kind of tell a Brazilian and a Colombian.
Normally very berry-like, which I don't like. It's
very
normally
popular.
Nick's favorite.
Very popular. Well, you know what? Okay, no, you go next, Max, and I'll pick up my next one.
Yeah, I normally prefer the ones from Central America.
Yeah.
So, because they tend to be more kind of brown notes like chocolates and nut, which I normally prefer in a coffee. Well, yeah, then I wouldn't know where else to go after these. I mean, just go and explore. Change temperatures, change things, but that goes into the technique, not really into
the bean selection.
Beans.
Well, okay, when you get a little bit more, so there's probably something worth clarifying when we talk about countries as well, because people may get confused by some of the terminology. So let's just clarify some of the terminology here. For example, people talk big about single origin. I've got a single origin Ethiopian. It doesn't actually mean a lot to me. So single estate does. Single origin means it's come from one country, but it's probably been grouped together with lots of different beans from lots of different farms. So kind of it sort of doesn't actually mean a huge deal.
From year to year is going to change. From season to season is going to change.
Absolutely, yeah. So the second thing, though, is to understand single estate. And now what happens is some roasters, Carvetti, I know, did this recently in the UK, will work with a farmer, and they'll get very, very close with that farmer. They'll maybe even talk to him about, good agricultural practices and getting, better yields and getting better quality. And so they may well have a very tight relationship with that farmer, and then they may actually finance that farmer, and finance. I was just working with who was it? It's a big roaster, West something coffee. West. It's a big coffee chain in West Coast, maybe it is, in America.
I don't know.
And they sell their coffees through King Super and Walmart and everything else. Anyway, they do a lot of pre-finance packages as part of their sort of ESG things, where they'll work closely with the farmers. They'll actually finance the farmers' crops ahead of time, so that everything's managed properly. Then they'll buy them at an agreed price, make sure the farmers well taken care of, and do it that way. But that is a single estate. And oftentimes when you're buying coffee through that kind of direct relationship, that roaster knows that coffee intimately, and that can be an interesting experience. That can be a very interesting experience. So I would say understand the difference between single origin and single estate. read the roaster's webpage, because more and more of them now talk about how they source their coffee, the relationship they have, if any, with the
And this is all
farmer.
because of us, because we started raving about it, and obviously everyone
All
responded to
because
that.
of us.
It's all us.
It's all us.
Yeah.
That's the reason for that. But what that means to you, because what you're ultimately interested in at the end of the day is whether you're getting great coffee. And if somebody is just buying their beans from a trader and then just roasting them the best that they can, that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if alternatively someone's actually maybe even visiting the farms, working with the farmer, getting, samples, how they sample, roast, that really working closely with them, then you can sometimes get something very special. So I'd bear that in mind. And then finally, I think in terms of terminology, the other thing I would look at, and this would be after you've done all those things. So once you've done all of that, so you've tried a Kenyan, you've tried something from Uganda, you tried something from Rwanda, something from Colombia, and you start to get a feel for, as Max was saying, you go to Central America, to Nicaragua or wherever, and you get some coffees from there, and you got these kind of chocolatey, nutty, which if you're into espresso makes a, that's kind of maybe a very popular flavor profile that you're interested in. Then and you go to Africa and it's maybe a little bit more fruity, a little bit more acidic. You can decide which one you want, hone in on that region, try more and more things. Then the next stage, the next step up in development is understanding the difference between washed, honey processed, and naturals. If you really like the kind of, I don't know, fruity, the fruity flavors, try natural. Because I love naturals. I have to say, when they've been done well, I love a natural, because the amount of amount of flavor you can get out of a natural is something else. So that would be the next thing I would do.
Yeah, no.
Not for you, Max. Well, you know
No.
what? That actually says it all, because this is the other thing I think it took me a long time to come to realize is I was looking for where, what I guess I hadn't established my own, like what was right or wrong in my own head. And I was always looking for someone else to tell me, hey, this is a good one, this isn't a good one. And actually that's kind of, I mean, you can get good and bad quality, but what you like is up to you. That's totally your bag, right?
Exactly.
So nobody can tell you that this coffee from Chef in Ethiopia is good or bad. That's up to you to decide. If you like it, fantastic. My
if you don't like it, you just wasted a bag.
You just wasted a bag. And that's the other thing, you're talking about, we're going back to the money question earlier. I would say, once you've got a feel for something, I tend to buy things in 250 gram bags first. If I've got an idea that I might like it, I'll immediately go back and buy either 500 grams or a kilo. And the reason being that in 250 grams, you're just about getting it dialed in, if you're lucky. For me, maybe I take longer.
Nah, I think you can get it dialed in earlier than that. But yeah, if there is some fine tuning to do, if you want to change temperatures and start playing around with things, yeah.
Yeah, look, okay. If you're starting out and you're not as experienced as you, Max, then it might take you 250 grams to get it kind of like to a point where you've made a few good shots. And
and by then you go like, "Ooh, this was really good." Oh,
really good. Oh, there's no more left. So I would say definitely do consider buying bigger bags. They'll also be a little bit more cost effective. And then once you're
after you like it, because otherwise it's a very long process.
Yeah. And there's one other tip I've got, actually. This is a bit of a sneaky tip, which is if you're in a household, actually, we should talk about whether milk's added or not, because if you're in a household and you've got some people drink coffee with milk, some people drink coffee without milk, do bear in mind that you can have coffee that doesn't taste great without milk. That can taste very good. It
doesn't taste great. You mean it tastes awful with milk?
No, I know that too.
There are some coffees where that you think, oh, I'm gonna have to put some milk in it, and suddenly it's the biggest mistake of your life. Then,
Yeah, it goes both ways, right?
yeah, it can ruin your day.
Yeah, it goes both ways. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that coffee, if you're always making your coffee with milk, bear in mind that someone else who says, "Oh, this is an amazing coffee," may not be drinking it with milk. It completely changes the game.
Mhm.
So some coffee tastes amazing with milk, and some coffee doesn't. So just bear that in mind. Also, and this is a trick I learned a little while back, is if you're using a grinder. I said, no, obviously you're going to use a grinder. Otherwise,
I mean-
that's where you're going wrong. Do not put the beans straight in the portafilter. That's your first mistake.
Yeah, that might be a little too fast.
Yeah. I've actually done that a few times in the morning very early. And I'm
what?
putting up, and no, I've literally put beans straight into the portafilter, and I start to put it in. And I think, wait a minute, I missed the step.
You can't be serious.
I've done it twice.
Wow.
I've got my mind somewhere else. It's 4 a.m. You know, what can I tell you? That's why I need the coffee. Look, my son had the hand grinder. He forgot to put the bottom on it. He spent the whole time grinding it. It went all over the floor. I'm just saying it runs in the family. So anyway.
You can always get a handful of beans and just...
You could do that. Well,
you put them in your mouth, just chew them a little,
chew them.
and then put some hot water in. Done.
Yeah.
Coffee done.
Yeah.
And
so listen, the tip. Oh, you what?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, okay. The tip is this. So if you're using a grinder, like an electric grinder, the chances are it's going to have some retention. So when you come down first thing in the morning, the trick is if there's a milk drinker, somebody who drinks coffee with milk, I should say.
That's the first coffee that goes out.
You give them the first coffee because they won't notice. You just cover it all up with that milk, and because it's going to taste kind of bad. It actually will taste pretty bad. That first coffee out, it's all going to be all those stale grinds from the day before.
So the bottom line is, if you guys drink coffee with milk, you deserve to have crap coffee.
No, you don't.
Nick Basket.
No, you don't. I still love
2021.
No, look, before I stopped drinking milk, I still love flat whites and macchiatos. They got no problem with those.
But you couldn't tell why it was always tasting that. They always had that little awful aftertaste. Now you
always
know.
did. Now I do know.
Now you know.
Yeah. Actually, some of the best flat whites I had when I was drinking with milk were Ethiopian base with milk on top. Oh yeah. Oh no, they were delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely give that a try. So that'll about wrap it up. What I want to say, actually, Max, is actually I do want to say I'm going to show a couple of coffees that we're drinking here as an example. I've got a couple of interesting ones here. I've got a new roaster I'm working with as well. First of all, this is a new one from, not a new one, it's a new one for me.
It's a new one from you. I mean, I had that for ages.
I know, years ago. Okay, yeah, but for me, I hadn't had this. And then Adrian came. And he plugged in my machine.
So he did?
I'm all plumbed in now.
Wow.
And check this out. Listen to this. He came and he tested the water because I had a water filter put on to soften the water for all of the equipment around the house.
And it was too soft.
No, it's too hard still. He said it's way too, he showed me it was still way too hard.
Wow.
But he also he went and he had that tested and it has stripped out a lot of the chemicals. So that water softener had also stripped out all the chemicals. So all the coffee flavors were very dull. So they calibrated it wasn't a Brita they used in the end, it was something else like that, when I say Brita, I don't mean like the jug. I mean, like they make speciality
ion
coffee.
exchange resin.
Of course, that's what I was going to say. And it's about it's about that big and it goes under my sink and it's plugged in. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Beautiful flavors. So I'm trying this. I've had this Sultan's from Peabury. I really like it. I love the mouthfeel for this. How thick and creamy it is in the mouth.
That's really nice.
Really good.
Have you tried it as a pour over? That
I don't do pour overs anymore.
You should do a pour over with that one. It's amazing.
I am going to get some more of it. This is a new company. They've been roasting only for 2 years. I've tried about 5 of their coffees now. They're called Carnival Roasters in the UK. I've tried about 5 of their coffees. And I haven't liked all of them. I liked all of them. Some of them are like, this one's really interesting because let me read the flavors to you. Actually, no, sorry, it's not that one. That's a Nicaraguan one. I got the wrong one. I can't remember the one I got. Oh yeah, I don't have the bag for the one I got. The one I got is called La Negra de something or other. Look that up.
La Perla Negra.
Yes, that's what. How do you know that?
I checked your Facebook.
Oh, oh yeah. I posted about it this morning. La Perla Negra. I thank God you're here to tell me what I say, Max. At that, I've been using
Max, scientist, coffee expert, and secretary. Everything
rolled into one. I get very good value for money, Max. So anyway, so Carnival Roasters, that La Perla Negra, that has a very interesting flavor profile. I don't know where it comes from. It's not Nicaragua. I'm not sure where it comes from. It may be a blend, but it's got an aftertaste of aniseed.
Ooh.
Oh no, it's very pleasant. It's very pleasant.
Oh, that would be so wrong for me. I had an accident with Sambuca many years ago.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No. It's not. I don't think it'll bring it back.
No.
Like that time I got so drunk on peppermint schnapps, I passed out in someone's cupboard, and I couldn't get out because I was upside down. I fell over backwards at the party, and anyway, I couldn't get out because I was upside down. Someone pulled me out in the morning, and when I went to brush my teeth, I was sick because the mint. I couldn't have mint for 2 weeks. I could even brushing my teeth was a challenge. Oh God. That's why I don't drink anymore. So actually
that's why you don't use mints anymore.
Yeah, that's why I don't brush my teeth anymore. So listen, this other one from Carnival has been a real surprise for me. It's decaf. It uses, pretty sure they use a Swiss, was it them or somebody else? Can't remember that. Anyway, I don't remember they use the Swiss water method for decapping. I think they do. But this decaf, wow, really juicy. Maybe not for you because it's juicy and fruity. They describe their tasting notes as dark chocolate, apricot, and sweet mandarin. So, and wow, really, really good. So if you're in the UK, I do recommend giving the. Plus, they're a lot of fun. You know, they're fun. They're nice people. Only been going 2 years. So
they look fun. The bags look fun.
Yeah, they're really nice. I always send a little note, and they send me an email, and yeah, I really like them. So, going to be recommending them going forward. I'm going to try some more. I've got a couple. I've basically taken my own advice. I bought from them. Oh, this is something else that you can look out for from roasters, because this is what I did with Carnival. Is they sometimes have an explore pack or a discovery pack where they'll like sell you 4 coffees at a discount. So I got 4 bags of 230 grams each at a good price, and it allowed me to explore a bunch of different. And from that, I could say, yeah, I'm not too keen on that one. Yeah, that one's okay. Oh, that one's really nice. And now I'm went and bought a couple of kilos of the stuff I like. Yeah. There it is. There it is. So good old Peaberry and Carnival is what I've been drinking this last month. Pretty much stuck with those 2 companies. I'm very happy with it. Got no problems.
Yeah.
What have you been drinking, Max?
I've been drinking this one.
It's empty.
I know. I've been drinking it.
Oh, okay. Can you say where it came from?
Yeah, I got actually a kilo from Darkwoods.
Oh yeah, you've been drinking that Darkwood stuff.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
So it's the Deer Hill, which is a blend, and it has Robusta in it.
A lot
and
more
it's
will.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's actually really, really good. It's very easy to dial in. It makes amazing coffee, makes amazing cream on top. It's like picture perfect coffee, and it comes out really nice. I really like it. It tastes just the right amount of chocolatiness. It tastes really good with milk as well. Makes an amazing cappuccino. That's brilliant, and it's cheap because it's got Robusta in it. So it's actually, I think on their website, a kilo is around 22 pounds.
That's
Pretty
very
good.
good, because you'll pay about 32 pounds
Yep.
from other places.
But don't hold me on that, because I do not remember the price. But it's about, I think it's
Yeah.
around 20 something pounds,
Yeah.
which is
I
very
think
good.
you'll start seeing a lot more companies coming out with Robusta blends, because there's obviously an Arabica shortage.
I
in
think it
Brazil.
makes sense, and it's I mean, it's good to have, it's good to have Arabica and everything, but do you really want to go only on Arabica? Is it actually the way forward? Can you blend it with Robusta? Does it make good coffee?
Mm.
Kind of does.
Well, at my cafe, we had a heavy Robusta blend, because that's what people expected their coffee to taste like.
Yes, but
You know,
if you dilute it with a little Robusta, the Arabica will go longer, and you will probably put a little less strain on farmers as well, and on farmlands. So
well,
I'm
yeah.
thinking of
So,
it as a greener option.
well, it's. I'm not sure it's necessary. Well, it is greener in some respects, because people are, if they're, and we're kind of going slightly off topic here, but when people are growing Arabica, if they deplete their land, and this is where good agricultural practices become very important, because generally farmers don't have either the tools, investment, equipment, or knowledge to apply those practices. And so what they do is, when their land's pretty much depleted, is they just go further up the hill, and that causes more and more sort of deforestation and everything else as they clear land for planting new Arabica. Whereas Robusta is a much hardier plant and can be grown at lower altitudes, and can be grown even if it's hotter, doesn't need as much water and whatever else, and it's more less disease prone, which means you get higher yields essentially, and so for many reasons, Robusta can be a more sustainable plant to go with. But certainly, even just from a taste point of view, it's it adds a sort of a bit of that coffee kick, if you're not used to the subtleties of lighter roasts, and you have the equipment and expertise to bring out all the character of those lighter roasts. Probably not a bad place to start with is a Robusta blend.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, Max. Sorry, I was going to wrap it up. Or so you were going to say something?
Well, I've been drinking another coffee, but it's okay.
No. Tell us about your coffee.
I've been actually drinking a coffee I got from Cornwall, because I was on holiday in Cornwall. It's called Heligian Blend, which was roasted a month ago. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I found it on the Heligian Gardens, which is probably they've been brewing it in there. I mean, brewing it. Sorry, they've been roasting it to sell on the farm shop of the Heligian Gardens. It was pretty nice, actually. It's 100% Arabica. Tastes good, relatively fruity, but it's a blend, so I have no idea what's in it. I didn't look it up. It was nice. Tiny beans. So I presume it's African.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, is that right? The African have, because it comes down to altitudes, doesn't it? A lot of it comes down to.
But I've noticed that normally when the beans are very tiny, they tend to be Arabica from Africa, because the beans that we get from Central America, they tend to be much bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of heat or temperature or height. I have no idea.
No, I don't really know either. I mean, bigger beans are supposed to be sweeter, but it depends on the variety and the origin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So my friend, let's wrap it up. What we'll do is I'll contact somebody else. I'm going to find some good beans for Ben in the US. Send him over some beans.
Starbucks.
Yeah, you're going to get. So, well, congratulations. You've won a kilo of McDonald's coffee. Actually, McDonald's isn't bad. They use the Arabica blend.
And you also won a kilo of Nescafe instant.
Yeah, can you imagine?
How much coffee can you make with 1 kilo of Nescafe?
I get lots of angry.
Is it a lifetime supply?
Anyway, let's leave it there, Max. I'm going to talk to you next week. I'm I am going to this week. I'm going to finish the carnival coffees that I've got, and then I'll contact somebody else for, and hopefully in the UK, for all this kit. We'll get it out there, and then next week we'll launch a new giveaway. How does that sound?
All right.
All right, my friend. Did you mow the lawn?
Oh yeah. Oh
Ah,
yeah.
Good man. All right.
Now
we'll
I
talk
have
to
to
you soon.
wait for everyone to pick it up.
You didn't pick it up.
Well, no, I picked it up, but there's no drivers that come with the trunk to pick it up.
Oh, we're out of petrol.
No, we're out of drivers.
We're out of drivers and petrol.
No, just
Okay.
drivers.
Okay. Yeah. All right, my friend. I'll talk to you next week.
See you.